Hi, and welcome along to MLR Daily. What I thought we'd do today is a live debate where we're going to discuss a couple of things. First of all, what we're going to discuss is who is the better striker. Is it Alexander Lacazette or Romelu Lukaku, right? That's the first one, because that's been the hot debate between me and many Manchester United fans, and I'm sure many Arsenal fans and Man United fans and other fans have been having that debate over the past few days. And also, because it's just broken today, Wayne Rooney going back to Everton, is that good for Everton? Or do you think that, Rooney is finished and, with the signings that Everton have been making, it's a negative? I don't know. I want to hear from you guys. Now, starting off with the whole Lukaku versus Lacazette thing, they're going to be two of the major signings of the summer. Arsenal, as you know, I'm a big Arsenal fan. Arsenal have made the signing of Alexander Lacazette, said to be around about £50 million when you add in all the add-ons and everything. That's what the fee is for Alexander Lacazette. Lukaku, surprise signing for Manchester United. It hasn't quite got over the line yet, but it will get done. He will be signing for Manchester United for around about £75 million. So that's £25 million more. Now, I'm trying to be unbiased in this and leave it down to you guys to try and let you tell me who you think is the better signing. Now, let's look at Lacazette's record. If we look at it over the last 3 seasons, in 2014-15, Lacazette scored 31 goals in all competitions. In 15-16, he scored 23 goals in all competitions. And last year, in 2016-17, he scored 37 goals in all competitions. All of those scored in the French league for Lyon, of course, his club that he plays for over there in France. Lukaku, another great goal-scoring record. 14-15, 20 goals. 15-16, 25 goals. 2016-17 last year, 26 goals, just behind Harry Kane. Great record for Romelu Lukaku. 2 really good strikers. Lukaku, very physical, very quick, plays on the shoulder, but you can play him one up top and he scores goals. Lacazette, again, another very clinical striker, very quick, strong for his size, plays off the shoulder, very similar. Can play up there on his own and scores goals as well. So both of them got great goal scoring records. Lukaku is only 24 years of age, was 24 in May. Lacazette is 26 and he was 26. They were both born in May, 26 in May as well. So he's just turned 26. Lukaku's just turned 24. He's the younger man. Which one of those is the better signing? Now, for me, maybe I'm being a bit biased here, but I've gone for Lacazette. An Arsenal fan, so you're going to say, yeah, well, you would. I just think Lacazette's more clinical, and his record is a brilliant record. But what do you guys think? Other people think Lukaku. Let me get into some of the comments here. Stephen House says, Lukaku needs to, what's he saying? Lukaku needs to improve his touch and interplay. He's got a while to go. Maybe Mourinho can do that for him. All right. This is the Arsenal fan. He's bigging up Lukaku. He said, Man United need goals. Lukaku will score them. All right. So no, that's pretty cool. So there you got. There's 2 views there, and those are 2 pretty honest views there. ASDF says Lacazette is a penalty merchant. Now, there's been a lot of that going around saying that a lot of his goals were penalties. They're goals. Harry Kane scores a lot of goals by penalties as well. They are goals. All right. Alan Shearer used to score lots of penalties. They are goals. It still stands on your record if you miss them as well. Samir says Lukaku is the better striker. Drew Bachet says Lacazette has more European experience, but Lukaku is proven in the Premier League as a proven Premier League scorer. Lukaku just trumps it, he says. Fayan Pulmano says, you can't compare League One with the Premier League. Lukaku is undoubtedly the better striker. He's proven it in the Premier League. Now, you know what? a lot of people have been saying that, right? Now I'm going to argue my sort of Arsenal hat on for Lacazette. This thing about it only being the French league. Where did Griezmann come from when he went to Atletico Madrid? Wasn't it the French league? You know, the last 3 winners of the PFA Player of the Year in this country have all come from the French league. Last year's winner, N'Golo Kante, nobody heard of him when he came to this country. He won the Player of the Season last year. The year before that, Riyad Mahrez, bought for 500,000 from the French league, Player of the Season. Year before that, Eden Hazard, bought from Lille, remember, in France, Player of the Year. So this thing about it's the French league, that's a good league. Monaco last year destroyed Manchester City. We were all raving about at the start of the season. Monaco destroyed Manchester City over 2 legs. As an Arsenal fan, we played PSG over 2 legs. I still don't know how we managed to get a draw out of those 2 games. They were an excellent side. Lyon got to the semi-finals of the Europa League. That French league has got some pretty decent teams in it. You know, then we see players come from France and come to the Premier League and tear it up. You know, tear it up. So this thing about it's the French league, I think we need to forget about that talk, because if you're a good player in the French league, I mean, you can make Karim Benzema, one of the best strikers around. Where did he come from? The French league. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, where's he from? The French league. Mbappe, French league. You sure you want to use that? And listen, this French league thing, I'm not having it, right? They produce brilliant, brilliant players. And I don't think you can use that and say, you know, just because he scored more goals in the, you know, he scored goals in the Premier League, that he's better. No way. Ramel Maynard says, I'm a Liverpool fan, but Lukaku is the better player, he says. John Rin, oh, sorry, I lost John Rin there. There's so many comments here. Thanks for sending them in. All right, I lost John Rin. I'll try and get back to him. James Solent says, Lacazette is like Francis Jeffers. I hope not, as an Arsenal fan. Oh, my God. Anud says, Lukaku has the touch of a rapist. Now, listen, this is another thing that's leveled at Romelu Lukaku, that his touch is very poor. A lot of people say that, you know, if he had a better touch, he'd score more goals. Another thing that's leveled at him sometimes is that even though he's got a great goal-scoring record, as I said, 2014-15, 20 goals, 2015-16, 25 goals, 2016-17 last season, 26 goals in the Premier League, well, in all competitions. Those are great records, but a lot of people level this at him and they say 2 things about Lukaku. 1, he doesn't turn up in the big games. And number 2, he's not clinical enough. Even though he scores all those goals, he's got a tendency to miss easy chances. Now, the not turning up in big games thing, you could look on it and say, well, you know what? He's not really been playing for the best teams, has he? West Brom, he's been playing for Everton, that, you know, even though a decent team, they haven't been one of the top teams, although at the moment they're making a play to be one of them. So he's always at a disadvantage when he comes up against Man United, when he comes up against Arsenal, when he comes up against Man City, Chelsea. He in a really big team in Manchester United, and he's going to have Pogba behind him, his mate. He's going to have Mkhitaryan. He's going to have class players all around him. Maybe we'll see a guy that will turn up in those bigger games because he's got more help. But that is a thing that's leveled against him sometimes, which I think I don't quite agree with him. Somebody here trying to put to bed my French argument about players coming from France doing it well. Guled Isse says, look at Martial. He struggled. Lacazette could struggle too. Well, hold on a minute. Martial in the first season for Manchester United was brilliant. Speak to any Man United fan, they were more than happy with him. He's just not had much of a chance since Jose Mourinho's come in, and now he's struggling. But he got off to a flyer in his first season. I'm sure United fans will tell you that. So, you know, Drew Bachet says, don't forget Zlatan Ibrahimovic. came to Manchester United from the French league, and they were leveling that at him as well. They were saying, "Oh, Ibrahimovic, yeah, he scores loads of goals because he's France, but when he comes over here to England, and when those defenders get stuck into him and start putting some big tackles in on him, he won't be able to score." Rubbish. Look how many goals Ibrahimovic scored last year. He was dominating defenses, you know. Ali Mustafa says the French league is underrated. It's a Million says Arsenal need Ousmane Dembele. I think every team needs Ousmane Dembele, but Ousmane Dembele, where did he come from? French league. Alpha G points out Falcao came from the French league. He did. He flopped. But Griezmann came from the French. You know, he's French. Although Yassine is pointing out to me that he did go from Real Sociedad to Atletico Madrid. That is true. But he's a French player, was playing in the French league before that. Brandon Johnson says the Premier League is garbage in the Champions League. You can argue that as well. We've been terrible in the Champions League. Leon Johannes says Lacazette is the French Darren Bent. Drogba was for the French League, as somebody here has just pointed out. French Darren Bent. You guys have got some. You've got some jokes, man. I rate you guys still. Sajid says the Premier League is more better than the French League. It is. As a whole, it is. It is better. Look at the money getting spent and stuff like that. But then if you look at last year and you look at the top teams in the French League, you've got to say they were better than the top teams in the Premier League. Monaco, they were brilliant. They were better than anything in the Premier League. I'm sorry. PSG were brilliant as well. You know, Lyon were pretty handy as well. You know, so there were some good teams. There's some very good teams right throughout the whole division, you know, of the French league. Definitely Premier League is better for me, but don't underestimate that French league. Lacazette had a better record than Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Someone says, David Bold responds to that one where the person said that Lacazette is the new Darren Bentbury. His response is Lukaku is the new Heskey. Yannick Level says Harry Kane will remain the best striker. Don't worry about that. Ronak says there is always a risk with every signing. It could work out or not. We have to wait and see. Both great strikers, though. Kaz says Aguero and Jesus any day better than Lukaku and Lacazette. Well, only time will tell. Aguero's top quality, proven. You know, he's brilliant. You know, simply brilliant. Here we got here, because my name's CRXRE. He says, I'm an Arsenal fan and I have to be honest. Lukaku's proven in the Premier League, so I'd say he's better. But if Lacazette destroys the Premier League, then it has to be Lacazette hands down. Let's consider the prices for a minute. I mean, it's not Lukaku's fault, but £75 million. Is he worth that? For you guys, is he worth £75 million? That is a lot of money. Bliss says Lukaku's first touch sets up the other teams in the counter-attack. He does get criticised a lot for his first touch. We're going to, you know, maybe a bit too much. I mean, listen, he's not, you know, Ibrahimovic with his touch, but maybe his touch maybe not as good as those guys, but then he's got other attributes, his strength, his speed, his power. I've seen him up front and personal playing against Arsenal. I'll tell you, he is a handful, an absolute handful. If he's got better players around him at Man United, you know, feeding him the ball, he might do better. But then there's other people who argue, that say, well, you know, at Everton, he was the main man. Everything went through him. What's going to happen when everything doesn't go through him? Will he be as effective? Cash Harlan says Lacazette is only quick. Lukaku has more to him, more strength, hold-up play, and he's a ruthless striker. Lukaku hold-up play is absolutely brilliant. That's one thing you've got to say. His hold-up play is brilliant. I'd say, look, Lacazette, when I've watched him, he's got good hold-up play as well. Obviously not as big as him and as imposing, but he's got a good hold-up play as well. But Lukaku has got a great hold-up play. Pen M says Lukaku is overpriced, right? So, and I missed that comment there. There was a comment. I wasn't sure if the guy was talking about Lukaku, if he was talking about if he was talking about Lacazette, but it's gone now. And there's so many hundreds of them coming up. Once it's gone, it's gone. Listen, you know what? I want to find out from guys out there about Rooney as well. Wayne Rooney's just signed for Everton. Now, Man United fans, are you pleased that he's gone? And also, Everton fans, are you pleased to get him? Not every Everton fan I've spoken to has been overjoyed by this signing. Some have. Some I've spoken to, they've been like, yeah, you know what? It's a great signing. He's going to bring experience to the squad. He's been there. He's done it. He's what we need. You know, we're making all these new signings, but he's the sort of guy with experience that will be brilliant there. There's other Everton fans who say, listen, why are we going back to him for? You know, I mean, we're buying all these exciting players. Why go back to Rooney? I don't know. I'm not an Everton fan. Is it a good signing? You know? I'd really like to know from you guys. Danielle here, 123 says Rooney is finished. That's what he thinks. I don't know. Maybe this might be the move that really rejuvenates him, really brings him back. You know? Goals in the French league versus the Premier League. Look at Giroud, says Shams 1234. Well, yeah, Giroud, he done very well in the French league, scored a lot of goals. He's done all right in the Premier League as well. All right, he has not scored. He's not been prolific, but he's not been bad either. Android Gamer says, I think they are both good strikers, but Lukaku will score more goals because Lacazette will play in better games. Don't understand the last part. Lee Farrell says, it's not Everton, it's Neverton. Rooney's past it. Okay. Fair play. We get some more comments here. They're just flying through. Alexander Gucci says Rooney will play better. He's going to be under less pressure. Chizram says that Lacazette made Manchester United buy Lukaku, to be honest. He says, who we got here? Oh, they're just flying. Someone here, there's Luke. He says that Rooney is still quality, good signing. Mehel says that Rooney will score more goals than Lukaku. I don't know about that. Lukaku done very well for Everton. Rooney's going to have to go some to do better than him. 7989 says Lukaku has very little brains, scores a lot of goals against the weaker teams, then he vanishes in the bigger games, gets easy tap-ins. I think Lukaku is massively overrated. I wouldn't say easy tap-ins. That's very unfair. He scores some blinding goals as well. I wouldn't agree with that at all. Hamza says Lukaku is more likely to succeed at Manchester United than Lacazette is at Arsenal. Why is that? Why? Why do you think, you know, he would? I don't understand that. Get another one here. Kubiab says, even as an Arsenal fan, I think they're both on the same page, but Lacazette trumps Lukaku on money. Obviously, £25 million cheaper. £25 million cheaper, you know. Amin says Lukaku is better. Oh, gosh, there's so many. I'm trying to keep up with his comments. I apologize, man. They're flying. They're absolutely flying. James Aaron says people are judging Lukaku versus the bigger teams. He was playing for Everton. Remember that. The other side says Lukaku scored more goals against the top teams than any other of the strikers in the league. Stat? I haven't seen that stat. I've always been under the impression that people say he's not done as good as he should do, you know, against those teams. Thomas Mallet simply says Lacazette has a better conversion rate. He does. Lacazette has one of the best conversion rates in Europe. Emerson Meyer says Mourinho will treat Lukaku just like he did at Chelsea. Well, I don't think, you know, he paid £75 million for him now. He must rate him if he's paying that sort of money for him. Ashley Johnson says Lukaku is better than Lacazette. Scott Mackay says Rooney, when he turns, it's like a double-decker bus. He is not that slow. But, you know, certainly, you know, it's mixed at the moment on Rooney. KR JJF says Lacazette is not good. Only Arsenal fans say that. Well, I'm sorry. Lacazette was being chased by a lot of big clubs. Atletico Madrid, who've got a record of signing excellent strikers. Remember, they signed Aguero. They've signed, top players. Griezmann, right? They wanted Lacazette. He was going to Atletico Madrid only because of their transfer ban. So I'm sorry, I'm not having that. Sonny Singh says Lacazette scored 37 goals last season alone. Leon didn't exactly have a phenomenal team either. Metal Mix says Lukaku is a great player. He will take United to the next level. However, £75 million price tag means he needs to perform week in, week out. He's going to be under a lot of pressure, Romelu Lukaku, because of that price tag. Now, I think that's what the problem is. Me personally, I'm being 100% honest. I think Lukaku is a great signing. If Lukaku had signed for Arsenal, I'd be happy. He's a top player. I prefer Lacazette, but there's not a lot of difference. To me, they're both top quality players, right? The one problem I agree with that guy that Lukaku is going to have is that price tag. £75 million is going to have to hit the ground running, because for £75 million you expect the done for that. You expect that player to be, you don't want to see him missing chances. He's got to hit the ground running, and I think that's the pressure that Lukaku is going to be under. But then he's got guys like Pogba that will help him to settle in. So I really do think he'll score a lot of goals for Manchester United. He's got so many good players around him. I can't see him doing badly at Manchester United. I do think it's a good signing, but 75 mil is a lot of money. Let's get some more. Michael Swaney says, even as a Chelsea fan, I have to concede that Lacazette is a great signing for Arsenal. Mr. Man United says, stop talking about the price tag. That's a bargain in 2017. I suppose, listen, he's got a point. Mr. Man United's got a point in a way, in that price tags, if you look at it over the years, all right, you look at somebody like Bale and the amount of money that Real Madrid paid for him, but it's been worth it, isn't it? Because, they've won the Champions League, they've won the La Liga, and he's been integral to that. So if you got it, which Man United have got, pay it. You know what I mean? Let's see some more here. Oh, so many comments, man. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. Archumo says Lukaku will flop just like Pogba. Pogba had an indifferent season last year, but I wouldn't describe Pogba as a flop, and I do think this will be the season that we'll probably see the proper Paul Pogba at Man United. As an Arsenal fan, I'm worried. I think Pogba will step it up this season. I think he was settling in last year, but I think you will see the proper Pogba this season. Thomas Mallet says Lacazette has more experience. Well, even though Lukaku's young, he's got a lot of Premier League experience, more Premier League experience, obviously, than Lacazette. Sachin Grover says, as an Arsenal fan, I agree that Lukaku is slightly better than Lacazette, but is he £25 million better? I don't think so, he says. Going to do a few more before we wrap it up. Sam Roberts says, I think Lacazette will do better than Lukaku because Lacazette has better players around him. Okay. And, oh gosh, they're moving so fast, man. I didn't even get a chance to read these things. Oh. Michael Naguda says, Lukaku is the new Wilfred Boney. Adam Belgore says, Chelsea fan here, Lukaku is a great signing for Manchester United. He will get a goal. He will get a goal, no doubt about that. I have seen a bit of Lacazette, and I think he is the better signing. He knows how to score. Why didn't Chelsea buy Lukaku? I mean, oof. Kyle Z. Marge says Lukaku is still a bit raw. Kawal says the only way to prove yourself in the Premier League is by playing in the Premier League. So let Lacazette play, and then we'll be able to judge him. Mojo says Lukaku will be playing beside a developing Marcus Rashford or Martial, whereas Lacazette will be beside Giroud. Verma said, if Lacazette is so good, why did Chelsea or Manchester United not try to sign him? Well, they didn't get him. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean he's any good because they didn't try to sign him. Sarge says Lacazette will take Arsenal to the next stage and help them to win trophies. I hope so, personally. Arvin says Lacazette is better than Lukaku. Private Minion 999 says Lacazette is the new Falcao, comes to the Premier League and absolutely flops. Aaron 102 says Lacazette has a way better work rate than Lukaku. Lacazette offers a lot more going forward with the team. Hakan 11 says Lukaku scored more goals against the top 6 sides than Harry Kane. Oh gosh, I'm gonna get a couple more in. Couple more. Lukaku will get more goals, but Lacazette will play better in the games. And let me go for one final one. Lukaku is a shit Jemba will flop. Oh my God, he's not a Jemba. He's a top player. Lukaku is a more all-rounder, somebody says there. And finally, Lukaku is better. He's scoring in a better league. Index Predator 95 says Heskey, Arrow, Lukaku. Kieran says, oh gosh, lost him. Oh, lost him. Ah, you know what? Let me leave it on that because it's an even split. If I'm being honest, it's an even split. Some of you think Lukaku's better. Some of you think Lacazette's better. We're going to find out this season who's better. We'll find out who's got the better goal-scoring record. We'll find out who's the best all-round player out of the two. But it's two great signings for the Premier League. Two great strikers. And I bet that both sets of fans can't wait to see both of them in action. Thanks for watching the MLR Daily live today of that subject. Keep those comments coming in. Keep keep talking away in the comment section. Thanks for having me today, and I'll see you tomorrow. Remember, subscribe here to MLR Daily.